with all that being said, stuff happens. So even the best of us, I'm not saying I'm one of the best, but even the best of us find ourselves in situations that are unexpected and that we do need to get out of. And like I said just a few minutes ago, using the CPR example, I don't want to ever have to use that. But that said, I have that skill for a reason, because I may need it, you know. And so like I said, that leads into this third category here of action. You know, I think what a lot of people do once they find themselves in a situation that is unexpected and which you're unprepared for, or like I said, you've exceeded your limitations, maybe without even knowing it, maybe with knowing it, but you got into a situation and it's first thing it is shocking. You stepped outside your comfort level. Things aren't what you expected them to be. I guess it's you know, hey, we're not in Kansas anymore. You know, that's the thinking that's going on there, and we start getting really scared, and it's panic. And what panic does is prevents action. And taking the preparation into account, it can help minimize the chances that you're going to just freeze and panic in those situations when they come up. Like I said, if I get lost, if I'm outdoors, I get lost, I break a leg or something, I'm not gonna be happy about it, obviously. You know, I don't want to be in that situation. But I've mentally prepared beforehand for that eventuality, and I've also physically prepared for it. And so, if that does happen, the hope is that I can do something about it. You know, I can take a second to stop and say, you know, hey, this was not a part of the plan. You know, my plan was to hike into this lake here and do some fishing, have a good weekend, and go back and watch some football on Sunday. And now I'm sitting here on the side of the trail with a broken leg 10 miles from the truck. You know, what do I do? And hopefully I can be calm enough to process through all that and start accepting my new reality, which is, hey, things aren't the way, you know, the plan was now. They're different. And once I can start accepting that, or once we can start accepting that, and there's a term for that, it's called denial, by the way. I'm sure we've all heard of it. We can start processing through that denial and accept the reality, and once we do that, we can start working through it, you know. Okay, so now I'm on the trail, my leg's broke. There's nothing I can do about that, but I can do something for myself to get out of the situation, or, you know, to wait for help. And that's where the preparation comes into play. Is, you know, like I said, I've already said it, I've prepared for those things, you know. I've got some things with me, and even if I'm in a situation where I don't, which I have been in before, you make do. That is the true survivalist right there. It's not about a knife that you happen to carry. It's not about a survival kit that you have. It's not about an insurance policy that you have. It's not about any of that. It's about the will to live, and it's about ingenuity. It's about making do with whatever you got. It is about not giving up. And there are so many cases of that. And I don't want to keep rambling on this video here and make it too long, but just a couple of the cases I can think about are, I'm sure everybody's heard about Aaron Ralston, the hiker who got trapped in the Slot Canyon down in Utah and had to cut his own arm off. I mean, that's a prime example. You know, it was a guy that was prepared, you know, as far as the prevention aspect went. He was a mountaineer, he was a climber, he was a well-skilled hiker, he had climbing gear with him. He was actually operating on that trip below his limitation level, and yet still found himself in trouble. It's that, oh, you know, stuff happens thing. You know, so you got a guy like that, you know, is prepared for something more than what he's actually doing, and yet he finds himself in this new situation, this new reality, and he, you know, had to go through all those stages, that initial denial of like, oh my God, you know, there's this 1,000-pound or 2,000-pound boulder trapping him as well. That's not real. And he struggles for an hour to try to free himself. You know, he can't accept that. And over the course of the next 6 days, you know, he slowly comes to terms and reaches that last level, which is acceptance. You know, he accepted the fact that he was going to die. And once he got to that level, he was able to do the next thing, which is to start taking action. And the action he took was just small incremental actions. He started cutting into his arm. He eventually had to cut through arteries, cut through tendons. He didn't just amputate his arm. He did it as a process, little steps to reach his end goal. And after he was free, he had another decision to make, which was to go back the way he came, which he knew, and it was shorter, or he could go down canyon into the unknown. And he had to make those choices, and that's another survival trait right there, is the ability to make decisions, whether they ultimately be wrong or right. It's making decisions and then following through with those decisions, taking action on them, which he did. And ultimately he obviously survived. And I guess that's just the key component of that last concept on action there, is, like I said, for first accepting the situation you're in and coming to terms with it. I guess ascertaining all of your assets that are at your disposal, whether it's mental, the will to live, the drive that you have, the ability to make these decisions, all of those things, kind of gathering up and building up this asset base, and then making decisions. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's making them, because that means you're alive and it means you're doing something. And as long as we're doing something, we're gonna be okay. And that's what Aaron did. That's what some of us in our lives have been called upon to do. And like I said, that can be anything from the extreme outdoor example I just gave, to getting through a divorce or something like that. You go through the same stuff. You have to accept it. You have to make decisions. You have to carry them through, and you have to get through it step by step. And at the end of it is, a new road. We come out the other side, and we're different people for it, no doubt. But we make it. We're there. We are survivors. And so hopefully some of this made sense. There's a lot more to this, and I really wanted to cover this in depth. So I hope I kind of touched on some, at least some key points without too much rambling here. And I would really appreciate some comments back on some of the things that I may not have covered, and some of what your thoughts are on all this. And like I said, I'm not dismissing anybody that is really into survival. I enjoy it myself. I do it. I've actually got some videos on some of the stuff I do, and there'll be more coming. But all that boils down to something else, and what that boils down to is what the true survival skill is you.